Hello guys, once again it's Matt, and today we have another video. So today we are flying out the Vautour IIN Late, the new edition. But let's thank our members. Thank you the full crew member over Landing 11B, all the Foxman member, including Hey Edu, which is the new Foxman member. Thank you, it helps a lot. Thank you all the Fishpad members, and subscribe to get into it, to not to get into it, just to support me more a little bit, okay? And be a member if you want to help the channel. So yeah, let's get into it. So we are flying out the Vautour IIN, an amazing aircraft actually. I love this. If you know me for a little bit of time, you know that I love interceptors. I really do love them, aka MiG-25, if you know what I mean. But how did I miss that? But yeah, and every time an interceptor comes into the game, I just it's the most the funnest. I mean, I have the most amount of fun that I can have in this game, to be honest. I love intercepting targets, especially bombers. I know it's kind of a dick move to say that and to do the kind of things that I am doing with the Vautour here, and I will be committing some war crimes in shortly with a TU4 in another match. But anyway, I love interceptors because they are normally fast. They have a good radar, good missiles, and yeah, pretty amazing, right? And you must be thinking like, but what are you saying, Matt? This is not a fast aircraft. Doesn't turn, doesn't have good missiles. It doesn't have anything, to be honest. But yeah, the thing is the challenge, okay? And it is a 8.7 aircraft. So you just have to remember that, okay? So this aircraft came in the patch, and it's the same aircraft as the other Vautour IINs, you know, so it's the same biplaced variant of the Vautour, with a radar on the nose, and the same engines, the same 4 cannons with a lot of ammo. But the only difference that it has here is the 511 radar guided missile. Okay, this missile is a very early missile. Okay, it's very early. It's earlier than the what's it called, the R530. Okay, and it was used by many aircraft, including the Mirage 3, that it's actually being used right now. But it is a missile from 1952, man. Can you imagine this? 1952, it's so old. So it's such a good technology, and it's such a good, interesting missile, you know. It is not the greatest thing ever, but to be honest, it turns better than an AIM-9B. It has more range than an AIM-9B, and it's radar guided, which means it is all aspect, obviously. Of course, we have a very old radar here, and it has a very large amount of ground clutter, so you have to be careful with that. Okay, if you are trying to use the missile, in my opinion, try to fly as high as possible or as low as possible. Okay, if you fly as low as possible, you can tilt the radar upwards, and in that manner, you just are preventing the radar to have ground clutter. You still have ground clutter, mainly because of the side lobes of the radiation coming from the radar, but still, it is very much usable flying low with the radar tilted upwards. Okay, the only thing that it doesn't work, it's tilted downwards, looking at the ground. So yeah, but normally the tactic that it's the most useful that I am doing with this aircraft, it's just to fly high and try to intercept as many bombers at early matches. Okay, normally I found to have 50-50 kind of matchmaking. Okay, so normally you face a lot of 8.3s, 8.7s, but sometimes you face 9.7s, and when that happens, it's a difficult match. Okay, not gonna lie, it's a heavy aircraft, big one, doesn't turn, you know, it's a bomber, you know, so it's built around a bomber, so it really doesn't turn. But still, it is an aircraft that, with its speeds in a more low BR kind of situation, you can do kind of a boom and zoom kind of tactics. You are faster than most aircraft normally because you are maintaining your energy, and you have two very powerful engines. It's not like amazingly fast, but it is pretty good, and it can hold its ground running from most aircraft that you face in its BR. Okay, the dangerous thing is the up tiers with a Mach 1 capable aircraft, and especially missiles like R60s, I mean, a lot of aircraft that are on 9.7, 10.0, I mean, 10.0 you're not gonna be facing, but for example, the Yak 38 has R60s, the Su-25 has R60s, and many other aircraft has for example, has the Magic or something like that. Not the Magic, no. No, not the Magic, but AIM-9s in general, and just be careful because there are some very powerful missiles against you. And here's the war crime that I committed. So I detected the target there, and as you see, the range of detection of the radar is pretty alright, to be honest. You can detect targets, very large targets, from 30 to 40 kilometers sometimes, but normally it's like around 20 kilometers. But the normal size targets, big targets like these, I think the right one was a Javelin, and the other one was a Tu-4. So they're very big targets, so you detect them from far away. And the missile, even though you are detecting them at far away distances, the lock range is very limited, and the missile range is very limited as well. I see I have a perfect lock there, but I just cannot have the amount of radiation bouncing back to guide the missile until I get to like 7 kilometers. So 8 to 7, I think it is. That's 7, 7.5. So it is problematic thing, And as you see, it is guiding pretty well, but it is a very slow missile. So bear that in mind. It will have to lead a lot. And yeah, a Tu-4 just cannot do anything. So that was kind of a war crime. So poor Tu-4. So I'm sorry for that guy, but I had to test this missile against a bomber, right? This is supposed to be killing these type of bombers. And that's basically the reason why we will never see strategic bombers in higher BRs, okay? Just because they will get stomped by these missiles. Obviously, this is the first one, and it's already very easy for around the same era kind of bomber, So imagine a B-52 facing R-24s, R-27s in the future, stuff like that. It's not very fun, I think. So yeah, that's probably the reason why strategic bombers will never be in game. But I think we can receive the kind of frontline low altitude bombers like the Tornado, like the Su-24, like the F-111, and yeah, but still, it is because basically they can defend themselves, a little bit more. You can see the idea behind that with the Su-25, that it can defend itself pretty well, to be honest, if you haven't seen my video yesterday. But yeah, but let's keep going with the bomber, with the Vautour. So yeah, so it is an interceptor, okay? It has the interceptor spawn, so just climb and use your missiles against unsuspecting targets. It's a problem because you cannot fire them from very long range, but still it's pretty good. And you still have the cannons, which can destroy everything in a bomber or even in a fighter. Just try to maintain your speed high. Obviously, don't try to dogfight anything unless it's like a B-57 or a IL-28. Maybe even that you're going to lose probably. So just be careful because it is a heavy aircraft with swept wings. It doesn't turn well. It is heavy, and yeah. But yeah, basically it is an aircraft that it was already pretty alright, but it has a very unique type of player that will like to fly this aircraft, So you have to really enjoy this type of gameplay. I know a lot of people don't. Me included. I like the nimble fighters as well, But the interceptors for me, it's something that I really enjoy flying it. You just have to be a little bit more careful in certain situations, And yeah, I really hope we see more of these type of early interceptors. The Americans and the Soviets have a lot of them. Of course, we have on the Russian side, we have the Yak-25, Yak-28P. We have the Su-9, the Su-11. In the American trees, we have the Starfire, which is kind of an interceptor, early one. We have the F-102, the F-106. So I really hope we see those interceptors in the future as well, because it is a very different aircraft. It's such a... I mean, to be honest, I know you won't be seeing these many Vautours flying around, just because they are heavy and difficult to fly sometimes. But just that doesn't mean that it shouldn't be in game, I think every interceptor should be. A lot of people say that they are not you know, like useful or properly useful in a batch, but it doesn't matter. I mean, that's the fun in the game of having multiple types of aircraft and different types of way to fly it, you know. And as you saw there, the missile just went kaput and just because of the ground clutter and stuff like that. So yeah, and as you see, it is hard to pull the nose on some targets sometimes. Maybe if I got a little bit more used to it, I probably would got more kills with it. But yeah, and yeah, it's a problem of just having to, you know, properly know how to use an aircraft, and with that you have to play them very in a very um, uh, in a large amount, you know. So yeah, but yeah, let me know in the comments what you think about this type of aircraft. I know a lot of people don't like it, but yeah, let me know in the comments what you think about it, and if you are going to get the Vautour as well, because I think not a lot of people will be having this aircraft, but still it's pretty amazing. Look at this head-on. I mean, it's a meteor, but still, it's just a very good gun. Of course, at this altitude, as you see, the ground clutter is in full effect, so I cannot get a lock. And yeah, it's a missile that takes 12 Gs in turn, if I'm not mistaken. And with that, you can actually kind of get people on a head-on, but not really. You know, you have to probably rely more on your cannons, because with a 12 G limit, it's problematic. You know, it has 8 kilograms of TNT, of explosive mass with the TNT equivalent of 10 kilograms, and the maximum speed is around 1.8 Mach, even though this kind of doesn't say anything about the missile itself. You know, this type of thing, it's just for the stat cards, but I will try to find the information about this missile. Hold up. So yeah, it's a missile that it burns for basically 3 seconds, and then it has a booster, basically of 13 seconds, which is a very long booster. But the power of the missile itself is very weak. So yeah, the speed of it's going to be very very slow. Okay, very very slow. So yeah, you just have to think that it is just like the R530. It feels the same missile, you know, but just worse. So it's kind of an interesting idea, but it's probably the R530 actually came from this missile. I probably think, because they are Matra missiles, I think. So yeah, it's a matter of evolution, you know. But it kind of surprises me on how early a missile like this was made. You know, it's just a very crazy technology to have in 1952. You know, it's pretty amazing. I mean, 1952, man, the MiG-17 was being um, entered in service. You know, so think about that. I mean, the most advanced fighter that the Soviets would have to defend the bombers would be a MiG-17, but mostly it would be MiG-15 bases. And a MiG-15 base cannot catch this aircraft very much in normal operations, you know. So yeah, it's an interesting aircraft, and I don't know if these aircraft actually was the first to use it, but yeah. And as you see here, we have the last match that I did. It was a very quick one because I died, but still, I wanted to show the first skill that I got. And as you see, this is the tactic. So you just fly high, and you put on 80 kilometers, and you just keep scanning to try to find somebody. Eventually, you will find somebody looking at them on the black dots, or you are going to detect them. As you see here, I detected the target on the left side there. Change the mode for the radar. Trying to find him on the radar as well. Hard to get some locks sometimes. Trying to find him again. Very close. MiG-15, 4 kilometers. Warmed up missile. Shoot the missile. And he tried to evade the missile, but yeah, look at the lead of the missile. It's so funny. It takes so much lead to actually get a target. It's so weird. But yeah, so you can get people by a head-on. It just takes a little bit of time. The only thing that I have to complain about it is that it takes too much time to actually warm it up the missile. It feels like the old warming up systems that we had like 2 months ago. Not even more, I think. But yeah, it was kind of problematic, and now it kind of is because you don't have that much time sometimes in a head-on, and that makes you uh, miss the shot. So yeah, to be honest, I didn't have the most amount of kills with the missile, but it's still useful. So I got like, I don't know, like a 30% hit rate, but it is so close that you shoot the missile that it's impossible to miss. But yeah, sometimes. But yeah, anyway, I hope you enjoyed, and let me know in the comments what you think about this aircraft. And I see you guys on the next one. So bye guys.